reason I went and saw the greatest game still today, in spite of the 28-3 game, which was fantastic, was that sudden death game. Yankee Stadium, the field was terrible. The lights were dimming. It looked like the Colts were going to run away with it. Giants came back. It was just really incredible. You have to understand America at that time, because it's a whole different thing than what we see today. And to see that game and how it changed everything for history. Because up to then, college football and baseball were ahead of the NFL. 70 million people watched that game that day. Now, to show you that football players aren't always the brightest, when they went to the middle of the field, Sam Huff said, "What the hell are we going out for? The game's over, it's a tie." The players did not know the rules. And so therefore, Johnny Unitas did. But Huff and the Giants did not, the great defensive player of his time. Anyway, you saw the result of the game, and I'll never forget this, and I talk about this in my book. The two people that I pick as the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen, one is Brady in a different time, and the other is Unitas. And one of the things I will tell you about Unitas, because I assume, raise your hand if you have, has anybody here seen John Unitas play? You did. On film, or you saw him on film? Yeah, I was going to say, if you said you saw him in person, you'd be 6 feet under. So what I said about both of them in Brady and my book, The Two Best Ever Seen, is Unitas, when you would ask a player about him, and this might be true to a degree on Brady, when I asked because I was at the Colts at the time during his great period, I asked all the players, what is about Unitas that you like? And remember, in those days, the beating you took, I mean, the rules have all changed today. And I said if Brady had to play then, he would not be playing past 35. I mean, it was absolute mayhem. People would stick up, after the play was over, people would stick their cleats in your face. You could be knocked in every play. And here's something that very few people know about what could happen then. Even after the play was over, until they changed the rule back in the 50s and 60s, you could hit the quarterback after the play, stomp him, do whatever you want, and the flag would not go down. Until they changed the rule, it was still legitimate. After the quarterback threw the pass, it's over. Somebody could, from the Bears or whatever it is, cheap shot, do whatever he wanted. They changed the rules. But one of the things that every Colt player said, and some of the other players from the other teams said, Unitas is a football player first and a quarterback second. That they saw him, as great as he was, as the guy that came from the sandlots of Pittsburgh that you paid $7 to. Even in his greatest moment, if you ever turn on and see the highlights of that sudden death game, even though it might seem like old-fashioned compared to what you see today, you'll see no celebrations like we see now, which is choreographed by Samuel Goldwyn or some idiot in Hollywood every time you score. Unitas hands the ball off to Amici for that touchdown. Never says a word, and he turns his back to the celebration and walks off the field like some gunslinger that just had done his job, and that was it. It's one of the most dramatic things if you see what somebody could be like that was that great. So looking at that period, Unitas, then comes the great Green Bay Packer teams, and then all the way through to what we see today. What is interesting to me is that I think players bigger, quicker, stronger, faster. I think the game is better in some degree. But on the other hand, what I think it has lost is number one, don't worry about them doing the dishes, I'm used to that, is what has happened is, one thing I really don't like is why should you be paying a coach $5 million to call into the quarterback to play when the quarterback should be calling his own play? And if you tell me that a Tom Brady or any of these really great young quarterbacks need a Josh McDaniels to tell them what the hell to call the next play, why are we paying them $20 and $30 million? I think it's a loss to a degree. I understand it's the game itself and how it's changed. But on the other hand, the quarterback is probably, I said in my book, two most important jobs in America are president and the quarterback in the NFL. Because there is no other position in sports where somebody has to call the play, has to recognize the defense, has to make the pass in every decision. Whether it's Tom Brady or any kid from high school on up, do you know that they have never called one of their own plays? And I find that almost difficult to understand, although that's the way it is today.